start with this. As you've been around Chandler some, what's impressed you about his skill set, and what do you think about his skill set fits what you guys do?
Yeah, I mean, just physically, talking the physical aspects of the quarterback, right? We're just a super quick trigger. The ball comes out of his hands extremely fast, right? You can kind of tell that on his tape, for the past several years. He's going to get the ball out of his hands quick. He can really run, right? You see a couple clips from North Texas when he gets out the gate. But he can really get out of the pocket, move, and extend plays. So obviously that fits us. That fits really any offense, all right? And we're going to fit to whoever's playing. We're going to fit to what they do the most. But really what pops off the tape is quick trigger, right? His ability to get the foot in the ground and get the ball out, which is always helpful.
Yeah, I was going to say most of his career all of his career has been spent in an air raid.
Yep.
Is there a learning curve there? Is there things that you guys have to do
Sure.
to help him kind of come into this, pro college system that,
Yeah.
that you guys run?
Yeah, no, I think there is, but he's a super smart guy. I mean, he's been around football his entire life, right? So he's keyed into what we're trying to do, and there's some stuff here that the air raid protection wise is different to our protection wise, but ultimately where he wants to go, right? He wants to play in the NFL. He wants a shot at it, right? So ultimately, this is the steps obviously he needs to take to prove that and to prove what he needs to do from our style, right, of play, right, to go. And he's the same. He's a coach's kid, and he knows how football. There's many different ways to win games, right? And he's like, yeah, it'd be helpful if we could run the football and I didn't have to throw it, 45 times a game, even though that sounds fun. But again, there's that aspect of it, which is always good.
And then I guess just kind of along those lines, as you guys are going through the spring with him, are you guys finding things like that he has in his skill set that you'll want to highlight more and kind of give and take and talking with him about what works for him, what worked for you guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's learning our system. We're also obviously learning the new quarterbacks we got. We're learning him. We're learning Danny, see what they do well, right? And we're trying to implement that because that's key. Every quarterback's not the same, right? So all the quarterbacks are different. And whoever's in there, we're going to be keyed on to what they do well, right? And just dress it up and do it over and over again.
Got it.
Yep.
Hey Taylor, how you doing, man?
Preston, what's going on, man?
Good. Wanted to ask, just in the spring, you got obviously different guys at different kind of times in their career. Yep. Where do you find yourself focusing, or does it change between each player?
Yeah, I think for the beginner, for the young guys, you want to just focus on pure execution, right? Of a simple motion, a snap count, right? Just pure execution of the offense. And it's a little bit different with the older guys, right? You want to focus on, right, their mindset, how they play the football game, how they play quarterback. So the beginner, I would say execution, but then you come in, you got two new guys. One's 24 years old and got a million reps under his belt, right? One's young and hungry, right? But they're new to us, right? So you got to focus on those things. And those two guys have picked it up extremely well just in 5 days, which I've been super impressed with. But yeah, I think the young guys, you want to focus on just execution of the offense, and then older guys, as they get that execution, you want to think of their mindset, how they want to play the game mentally.
When does that learning the playbook start? Is it before they get there? Is it as soon as they get on grounds? When do y'all kind of start giving them some pages, start learning?
As soon as those guys visited grounds, during the recruitment process, the portal window, we're learning how they see football, right? And they're learning how we see football. So we got concepts up there. We're talking through it. So that learning process essentially starts there before they even commit to playing with us, right? Because they see it firsthand. And then as soon as they get here, we get rolling with them. I think our support staff's done a great job because we're on the road recruiting, right? Those guys show up and we're not there for 2.5, 3 weeks, right? But our support staff has done a good job laying the foundation, right, of the offense. And I think that first 3 weeks, if there's some football in it, right, with them just learning the playbook, but also learning where their classes are, right, starting over, right, learning your teammates, working out with your teammates, where do I pay rent, where do I do that, all that stuff. That's kind of the first things they're figuring out, and it's a good little buffer zone, and then hit the ground running in February.
Yeah, when do you expect them to kind of have a full kind of mastery or knowledge of kind of what they're doing out there?
Yeah, I think once we get a base in spring, through these 15 practices, you get a base. We learn what they're good at. They learn our offense, right, and how we can mix and match things. I think summer is huge, especially in this new portal world, right? Summer is huge because these guys are going to be here, right, and that's when they can really dig in. They only got so many class, the class load's lighter, right, so they can really dig in and really get to know what we want to do this fall, right? Because again, we are who we are this spring, right? And there'll be some more different wrinkles through summer and through fall, right? Because as we again learn who's going to play for us and what they do well.
And last thing I got for me is Danny talked about it a little bit when we talked to him on Monday. Just getting that extra reps outside of the facility and outside of like y'all's purview and things.
Yep.
How much, I guess, progress are they making when they're doing stuff like that? And what have you seen from Chandler and Danny as far as that?
Yeah, I mean, those guys were eager as soon as they got here. They wanted to get out and throw with their guys, the guys that we had this spring. So that was huge for them, again, when they were working out in January and February, right, on their own, going out, and you really saw it the first couple of days, like these guys have been throwing together, right, and been getting that timing down, which is so big in the pass game. And then, again, adding new stuff in the summer, and those guys, both those guys got great leadership abilities, a little different in their own ways, right? But both of them got really good leadership ability, and both of them can text a group message here and there, and those guys will follow and come throw. So it's a good deal.
Hi, Coach. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Doing good.
Great.
I wanted to ask about your relationship with Danny because it started when he was a high school prospect. I think he was one of the first quarterbacks you actually visited during your first evaluation period. What was it about him that you were intrigued back then?
Yeah, I think they were having a throw-in session at the high school in the gym because it was freezing and windy, probably most wind I've ever felt over there in Omaha. But again, we all can sit there and watch him throw and how physically talented he is, right? He's a bigger guy, but just how he interacted with his teammates, right? How he led his teammates, how he actually ran the drills, right? How he had a voice and command over his teammates. That's kind of what stood out to us.
So when he entered the portal, was it a no-brainer of kind of approaching him, seeing his interest because of where you kind of saw that when you were looking at his, throwing in high school? Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we've seen the physical piece. We know the kid, and that's, again, the two guys we've had previous relationships with, right? Because that portal window can be a little bit dangerous where there's 2 weeks and you don't know a kid, and right, and there's some comfortability there with Chandler, right? I met him when he was a younger kid, and then obviously Coach Elliott has known him for a while since he was running around at Clemson, and then Danny we've had a prior relationship with. So getting those two guys in here there's some sense of comfortability there, so we could again go off on the right foot.
Like you said, in the portal, you don't usually have those relationships. It is such a different environment. Did you feel like that was something that if you could have, you wanted it? Like when you're looking at the quarterbacks, you're like, I would like to have a relationship with somebody because this is such an interesting position because of how quickly they need to.
Yeah, you got cut off late there, but I get the question. I think with those guys in the previous relationships we've had, right, them coming in, because you don't want the unknown, right? Because in the portal there's a bunch of unknowns, right? You see the tape, you try to call and get to know these guys in 2 weeks and get some references on those guys. But in high school, you're going to recruit a kid, especially the quarterback position. You're going to recruit kids for 3 years, right? You're going to know their families. You're going to know where they live. You're going to be in their house. You're going to know the high school coach they're coming from. And so when you're seeking in the portal, especially at the quarterback position, we were seeking prior relationships, people we've known, recruited. That's just an added bonus. Not saying we would never, again, go out and get a guy we hadn't seen live or recruited previously or had a relationship with, but that's just an added bonus for us.
Thank you.
Yep.
A little bit about building chemistry with receivers. With so many offensive linemen that are new too, how's that how's that building part going between the quarterbacks and those new guys?
Good. You know, the O-line quarterback relationship in general is pretty natural. You know, and those guys, especially when we brought in a ton up front, right? So Chandler and Danny, those guys are coming in together. So it's almost like you're the freshman class again, you know, with each other coming in. So you're building that relationship. So those guys hit it off from the jump, right? Obviously, some younger old linemen kind of gravitated towards Danny because he's a younger guy, and same thing with Chandler, the older guy. But you know, those guys have seen football at some different places, and it was more of a natural occurrence when they came in the door.
Coach Elliott was talking a little bit about Terrell Harris on Monday.
Yep.
Being able to really take the top off of a defense. How does that simplify things for your quarterbacks when there's that type of threat on the field?
Yeah, no, it helps a ton, right? Because not only can he run, he's an elite route runner, right? He can get off press in a hurry. You know, our quarterbacks are learning it quickly. You know, this spring, right? How quick they need to get the ball out to get it to him. You know, he's a little bit different in the way he moves, but just taking the top off of coverage, right? Winning vertically, like all that helps the quarterback tremendously. Just in general, right? Either whether you're reading high-low and you're trying to take the top off somebody so you can throw it underneath, right? You got trust that guy's going to get out of there, but also stretching the field, and it helps obviously all the underneath stuff. So you get a guy that can run. It's not, you don't see us throwing deep to him every time. Like the completion percentage goes up from 10 to 20 yards, you know, 0 to 10 yards, just with that speed.
Chandler, he's got one thing in common with you. He's the son of a coach. Is there anything that comes along with playing the quarterback position, having grown up around the game that can help you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've been around it my entire life. He's been around it his entire life. You know, we've had different experiences, different places, but it's the same. You know, it's football, and his dad was a coach, my dad was a coach. You know, been fired and hired, families moved. Things of that nature, but just the way you move around within a football building, like obviously the football stuff, the knowledge of being able to play football helps being able to see it your whole life. But just the way you move around the building, the way you lead, right, the way you work out with your guys, the way the guys are attracted to you, there's a sense of knowing how it's been done and how it's supposed to be done. And I think that sense, it's almost like, you know, an extra sense. I think he's got it, right? And you see a lot of coaches' kids that do have it, right? But he also has the talent, right, that goes along with it, right? I don't quite throw it like him, so which is good.
Fair enough. I was gonna say Danny said something interesting the other day too, in that he thought the training, the off-season training, like in the weight room with Coach Schmo, was so like personalized toward the quarterback. I guess maybe you guys break it up by positions in the strength and conditioning element. How different and unique is that? Maybe it's not. I don't know. I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is that something that can help your quarterbacks, and how do you see it from that point of view? Yeah,
I don't know how different it is. I mean, every place, obviously, every school and head coach is going to run his program differently. But here, what I know here is, you know, they're going to have, you know, we got 5 full-time guys down there, and they're going to be broken up in position, and they're going to get extremely detailed, you know, in the way they lift, the way they move. They're not, you know, they're still lifting tough weights, and their guys are going to, you know, the D-line's going to look over there, and the quarterback's going to be moving weight, right? But they're not going to be doing the same things, right? We're training for different outcomes, right? We're not trying to roll our hips on an inside zone and knock somebody out of there, right? So we're training to throw the field out on time. So it's a little different, but you know, and Danny's experience and you know, his experience here for the last 2 months has been positive. I was gonna say, have you seen gains from him, even from when he first arrived? Just, you know, athletically, he said he feels more athletic than he's been. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna see that because he's just a first year, right? He's been at his previous school for 2 semesters, right? So he's still got he's got a great frame to build on, right? And that's what we saw coming in the door. He's, you know, whatever he is, 6'3", 6'4", 220 right now, 215. Right, with a lot of room to grow and get better. But I think we were surprised just because you don't really see it. We didn't see it when we went to the high school and watched him throw, but the way he moves, right? The way he competed in Wahoo drills, he's beating people they probably shouldn't be beaten, right? In an L drill or whatever. So you see that, and that's the potential he has, right? He's got a high floor and a high ceiling. So especially with the way he moves.
Thanks.
Yep.
Taylor, obviously it's a much different quarterback room this year with the new guys you're bringing in. Just with the depth, the talent, is this the healthiest you've kind of seen that quarterback progression that so many coaches want to get to? Is this probably the healthiest you've seen that room?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the first year we came in here, I think we had like 2 guys healthy the first spring, and maybe 1.5. So this is definitely, the most depth we've had, right? And you talk about bringing in competition, that raises everybody in the room, right? Frakes is having a great spring. Got Brosterhouse in his role, right? Boone Lord has come into his own out there throwing it at Pro Day the other day. So, those guys have, come into their own. We got 5 of them. Well, we're adding the 2 more this summer with the two first years. So, again, we're just trying to get as many good ones as we can in the door, right? And go from there.
How hard has that been to get to?
Yeah.
Just with transfers and Jay's decision when he made that, and just trying to kind of work your way to getting to this point.
Yeah, it's been, everybody's dealing with it around the country, right? It's a reload system, and it's the quarterback position is different than any other position. There's one guy playing, right? So, you're preparing all the time, right, to replace, but at the same time, like, you just want to get as many good ones as you can every year, right, and focus on that year and again, go from there. But the 5 we got right now, again, putting them out there in spring, they're all getting reps, right? All 5 are getting reps, which is rare, right, in the springtime. So they're all getting reps, and then adding those 2 first years in the summer, which they're eager to get here too, and get them some reps. So.
I'll sneak one more in.
Yep.
Where is Frakes at, just in terms of his development? Where have you seen him grow now in his second year with you guys?
I think there's a lot more comfortability there with him and the offense, because when he came in, it was, spring and fall, right? And you had the two guys that were there already. But now he's the guy that's been in the offense. Him and Grady have been in the offense the longest, right? Him and Grady and Boone. So there's a sense of comfortability when he's out there. You can see him making checks. He's comfortable with snap count. He knows the plays, right? So there's definitely been some development there. And then you bring in the competition, right? He's risen to that competition through what's today? 4 practices. So it's been good to see, right, with him, because he's such a big physical kid. He's powerful, right? His weight room numbers are incredible. He's got a quick trigger, all right? So there's some stuff in there for sure. Yep. Thank y'all.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.